In question number 26, a point charge plus q is placed at a distance d from an isolated conducting plane. For example, this is an isolated conducting plane. A charge plus q is placed, which is at a distance d. Because of this plus q charge, negative charges are induced towards this plus q and positive charges are induced on the other side of the plane. Here our aim is to find out the field at a point P on the other side of the plane. On the other side of the plane, the direction of field is perpendicular to the plane and also away from the plane. So the option 1 is correct for question number 26. Next, for question number 27. A point charge plus q is surrounded by two uncharged concentric conducting shells as shown. Here the region of space inside the inner shell is A. The region of space between the two shells is B and the region of space outside of outer shell is C. Regarding the electric field, which of the following is correct? Here to identify the electric field, just we have to imagine the Gaussian surface just inside the shell A. Because of plus q charge, electric field exists. Now imagine a Gaussian surface which is in between B and C. This Gaussian surface also encloses plus q charge, so electric field exists. And another Gaussian surface taken outside the shell C. Here also the charge enclosure is q, so electric field exists. So fourth option, it exists in A, B and C is the correct. In question number 28, two infinitely long straight conductors each having a charge density I are arranged parallel to each other. For example, like this. The separation between them is small d. What happens to the force per unit length on each conductor when the separation between them is doubled? First of all, let us find out the relation for the force per unit length. So for that I will take a small element of length dx, where the charge is q is equal to charge per unit length into length, then force experienced by that part is equal to F is equal to EQ, E into Q nothing but I into dx. And we know the expression for intensity of electric field due to long straight conductor is equal to lambda by 2 pi epsilon naught r. So here lambda instead of lambda in the problem I is given, so I by 2 pi epsilon naught d into I into dx. So that is equal to I square by 2 pi epsilon naught d. Here the problem is relating with the force and the distance. So the relation between force and distance is inversely proportional. Here as d is doubled, the force is halved. So option 3 is correct for question number 28. For question number 29, an equilateral triangle ABC has a side A. For example, this is equilateral triangle ABC of side A. Two infinitely long thin straight wires having uniform linear charge densities lambda and lambda are arranged at A and B. For example, arranged here A and B perpendicular to the plane of the triangle. Now the magnitude of electric field at the third vertex. Actually, due to the conductor at A, the electric field at C is away from the conductor, so the electric field direction due to the conductor at A will be like this, and due to B also it is perpendicular. And we know that E is equal to lambda by 2 pi epsilon naught A. Here these two electric fields acting simultaneously at point C by making an angle 60 degree with each other. So the resultant electric field is equal to root 3E according to parallelogram law of vector addition. So finally intensity of electric field at C is root 3 lambda by 2 pi epsilon naught A. That will be in the option 4. So option 4 is correct. For problem number 30, the electron is projected from a distance d and with initial velocity u parallel to a uniformly charged flat conducting plate as shown. Okay, it strikes the plate after traveling a distance L along the direction. The surface charge density of the conducting plate is equal to. So here due to this charged conducting plate, for example, a positive charge is present on either side of the plate. Because of that, electric field acts away from the plate. As the particle is electronegatively charged, so it experiences force in a downward direction. Its value is F bar equal to E bar into Q, nothing but E, and acceleration experienced by the electron will be F by m, nothing but E by m in the downward direction. Okay, the electron is projected with a velocity u. So the time taken by the electron to travel a horizontal distance L, that is T is equal to L by u. Because there is no force along x direction, so there is no acceleration along x direction. So to travel a distance L, the time taken by the electron is equal to T is equal to L by u. Now using the equation of motion, S is equal to ut plus half at square in y direction, you will get Sy, nothing but the vertical displacement is d and initial vertical velocity is equal to 0, of acceleration nothing but E by m, and T is equal to L by u whole square. And we know the formula for intensity of electric field due to conducting plate, that is equal to E is equal to sigma by epsilon naught. So in the place of E, I am going to substitute sigma by epsilon naught E by m into L by u whole square, nothing but L square by u square. Here our aim is to find out the surface charge density. So sigma is equal to 2 epsilon naught m u square into d by E L square. So this is the surface charge density. This is given in option number 1. So option number 1 is correct. For problem number 31, an isolated solid metal sphere of a radius r. So the radius r is given an electric charge. Whenever the charge is given to a solid sphere, it will reside only on the outer surface. The variation of the intensity of electric field with the distance small r from the center of the sphere is best shown by. Actually, for the metallic, the solid sphere, there is no field exists inside. So if you draw the graph up to the radius, there is no field. After that, that means outside the metallic sphere, the intensity of electric field is inversely proportional to r square. So you will get this graph. This is r. This graph is drawn between intensity of electric field and distance. So this one is coincide with option 3. So option 3 is correct. In question number 32, 3 infinitely charged sheets are kept parallel to xy plane having charge densities as shown in the figure. Then the value of electric field at P. For example, due to the surface charge density sigma, the intensity of electric field will be in the downward direction. So E1 bar is equal to the sigma by 2 epsilon naught, downward direction nothing but minus k cap, and due to the minus 2 sigma, the direction of electric field is again the same direction. So the intensity of electric field due to the second one is E2 bar is equal to 2 sigma by 2 epsilon naught minus k cap, and due to the third one minus sigma, intensity of electric field is same as the before. So E is equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught into minus k cap, because the direction of electric field is perpendicular to the plane containing the charge sheet, and the charge sheet is in xy plane, so the electric field is in z direction. So the net electric field is E bar is equal to E1 bar plus E2 bar plus E3 bar. So sigma 2 sigma 3 total 4 sigma by 2 epsilon naught into minus k cap, or 2 sigma by epsilon naught minus k cap. So option 1 is correct for problem number 32. In 33, the point P is at a distance of small r from the axis of the cylinder. The volume, charge density and radius of the cylinder are sigma and rho and r respectively. Then our aim is to find out electric field at point P. So let us find out the total charge on the cylinder, that is Q, from the volume charge density sigma is equal to charge per volume, that is surface area into length pi r square L. So from this charge Q is equal to rho into pi, radius is nothing but capital R, so pi r square L. According to Gauss law, the closed integral E bar dot ds bar is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times the net charge. So here E into integral ds nothing but total surface area 2 pi r into L. So here we have to imagine a cylindrical Gaussian surface passing through the point P, whose surface area is 2 pi r into L, that is equal to 1 by epsilon naught into Q nothing but a rho into pi r square into L. So after simplification, you will get intensity of electric field E is equal to rho capital R square by 2 epsilon naught r. So this is given in option number 1. Problem number 34. Let there be a spherically symmetric charge distribution with charge density is varying. Charge density is varying with respect to the distance, that is given as r naught is equal to rho naught into 5 by 4 minus small r by capital R up to small r is equal to capital R, and small r is equal to 0 for smaller greater than capital R distance from the origin. The electric field distance is smaller from the origin is given by. So for example, here the spherical portion, in this the charge density is varying. Here I am assuming a spherical portion of radius r and the thickness is equal to dr. Now let us find out the total charge up to the distance r. So for that the small amount of charge dq is equal to volume charge density into that volume, that is surface area into thickness 4 pi r square dr, where r is given as r naught into 5 by 4 minus small r by capital R into 4 pi r square dr. After simplification, 4 pi rho naught 5 by 4 small r square dr minus r cube by capital R dr. Now to find out the charge q, let us take the integration. So 4 pi rho naught is a constant, 5 by 4 also constant, integral 0 to r square dr minus 1 by capital R into 0 to r cube dr. So this is 4 pi rho naught 5 by 4 into integral r square dr, nothing but r cube by 3. Limits are from 0 to r, means you will get r cube by 3 only, minus 1 by capital R into integral r cube dr, nothing but r power 4 by 4. Okay, now we will find out the intensity of electric field at a distance r. So the intensity of electric field at a distance small r is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into q by r square according to the formula. So that is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught 1 by r square, where q is just now we determined, that is 4 pi rho naught into 5 by 4 r cube by 3 minus r power 4 by 4 into capital R. So that is equal to, here 4 pi cancel, rho naught by, here 4 also taken outside, 4 epsilon naught, and r square is taken inside and simplify, you will get 5 by 3 r cube by r square, nothing but r minus r square by capital R. There is a further r can be taken outside, rho naught r by 4 epsilon naught into 5 by 3 minus small r by capital R. So this is the final required form, which is given in which option, rho naught r by 4 epsilon naught 5 by 3 minus small r by capital R, means option 2. It is given in option 2. Next, for question number 35, 3 concentric metallic spherical shells of radius r, 2r, 3r are given charges q1, q2, q3 respectively. So for example, these are the 3 spheres and the radius is, this is r, 2r and 3r, are given charges q1, q2 and q3. For example, for this one q1, this is a q2 and q3. It is found that surrounding the surface charge densities on the outer surface of the shells are equal. So this is the main point, the surface charge densities on the outer surface of the shells are equal. Then we have to find out the ratio of the charges. So given surface charge densities are same, that is sigma 1 is equal to sigma 2 is equal to sigma 3. Surface charge density means charge per unit area. So you can write for the first sphere q1 by area, nothing but 4 pi r square, and for on the surface of the second sphere, according to Gaussian law, a Gaussian surface encloses the total charge of q1 plus q2. So I will take q1 plus q2 by 4 pi r, nothing but 2r, so 2r whole square, and the total charge associated with the third sphere is total q1 plus q2 plus q3 by 4 pi into 3r whole square. Now let us simplify this equation. So here 4 pi cancel, take these two equations. Now you will get r square also cancel. So 4 q1 is equal to q1 plus q2. So this is equation number 1, and next one, suppose if you take the third one, then third one and first one. So 9q1 is equal to q1 plus q2 plus q3. So after simplification, this one 8q1 is equal to q2 plus q3. So actually from first one 4q1 minus q1, that is 3q1 is equal to q2. So 3q1 is equal to q2 is taken as equation number 1. Okay, so now I am going to substitute 3q1 in the place of q2. Then you will get 8q1 is equal to 3q1 plus q3. So that is equal to 5q1 is equal to q3. Now our aim is to find out the ratio. So therefore q1 is to q2 is to q3 is equal to q1 is equal to q1, and q2 is nothing but 3q1, and q3 is nothing but so 5q1. So the ratio is 1 is to 3 is to 5. So second option is correct for question number 35. Next, for question number 36. In question number 36, a solid metallic sphere has a charge plus 3q. Concentric with this sphere is a conducting spherical shell having a charge minus q. For example, this is a solid metallic sphere and it is surrounded by another spherical shell, for example like this. But solid metallic sphere has a charge of plus 3q and a conducting spherical shell having a charge of minus q. The radius of the sphere is small a and that of the spherical shell is b. So this is b and this is a. What is the electric field at a distance capital R, a less than capital R less than b? So here it is somewhere we have to find out the intensity of electric field. We know that intensity of electric field due to the spherical shell inside it is 0. So the intensity of electric field takes place only due to this metallic sphere, and the point is outside the sphere. So the intensity of electric field E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, and the charge is equal to 3q and the distance is equal to r. So 3q by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. So option 2 is correct for question number 36. And 37. Which graph shows a variation of electric field of uniformly charged non-conducting sphere? So in the case of the non-conducting sphere, inside also the intensity of electric field exists, and it is changing linearly with that distance. So you will get this graph, and outside the point the intensity of electric field is going to be decreased according to the equation E inversely proportional to r square. So option 3 is correct.